And today's challenge is to replace a shift cable, one of the dreaded shift cables, in this John Deere XUV550 S4 meaning it's got 4 seats. It's a common problem. It's a problem that happens to these things after a certain amount of time, and you'll probably experience if you have one of these. And the problem I've got with it is not that the shift cables are expensive, they're not, but that the replacement requires removing about half of the buggy to get to it. And I'm way too lazy to do that, so I'm going to show you a way that we're going to swap this shift cable out with a minimum of effort. And I've gone to the trouble in troubleshooting of taking this easy panel out. That just pops out with 4 little tabs. And as you can see, my problem here is this cable's got nothing connected to it. Now what it should have is a little potted end hook like this one here that goes through the mechanism. It should go through this mechanism, and it's just not there anymore. It came off and it fell out. First, let me give you an idea where this cable goes. You can see it snakes up forward, and for what it's worth, folks, there's an identical one on the bottom that follows pretty much the same route, and I suspect that replacing it would be a very similar thing. But let's just go ahead and take a look at where this thing goes. It gives you an idea of the access you have to it. Now, the videos I've seen, this comes off, the side panels come off, the seats come out, the bottom panels come off, the rear seats come out, the bed comes off. We're not going to do all that because I'm just way too lazy and too busy to be doing things like that. So you can see the cable's actually got pretty good access down here, and you can see it goes through that little keeper there. It's a little nylon zip tie looking thing that holds all the cables together, and then it heads down underneath, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a really good angle on this, but it goes back down this center channel underneath. Now the thing is, to entirely remove the old one does require pulling all of this out. My approach is going to be, I don't really need to remove the old one. It doesn't bother me that this is going to have a dead cable laying in it when I'm done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to install the new cable, route it down through the same way of routing the old cable, and we'll show you how to do that without any real danger of it causing any problems. Because the only thing that it's likely to get into touch with down there is the front drive shaft. And we're going to do this in a way that's never going to come close to that. And once you get past that, it's free sailing all the way to the back. Alright, and just to make it a little more easy to see what's going on, I am going to remove this, this front trunk, although it's really not theoretically necessary. It would just be a little fiddlier to work around it. But we'll take it out because it's only 4 screws and a little bit of fiddling around with the fuse box over there. Okay, and the fuse box could be pushed back out of the way so the whole trunk just lifts out. Go ahead and loosen the bad cable. Okay, and the trick here, folks, is to rotate the cable so you can get to the tabs that hold it in place. Let's see if I can get a little better view of that for you. And squeeze them in. And then once they're squeezed in, it's easy to push the whole cable through the bulkhead so that it comes out. Alright, so that's freed up. So now let's go to the bottom. Okay, and you can see where this cable feeds under the vehicle, right inside there, which is above the chassis slightly. So I'm going to go get the new cable now and start following the same route. Okay, now to the new cable. I got this as an aftermarket cable, a lot cheaper than the OEM, and hey, the OEM's break, so if I really thought I would have to take this entire buggy apart to replace it, I would definitely go OEM. But I'm not going to have to, so this is going to be fine. If it breaks again, it's not that big a deal. What I do like about this one, the cable seems to be a little thicker than the original, or at least as thick, and the potted little hooks on the end seem to be definitely more sturdy than a lot of the options. Here's the big thing you want to watch for though, folks. Online, for whatever reason, just about all of the shift cables for all the variants of the John Deere XUV550 and that series will list the S4, which is the 4-seat long wheelbase version, as being compatible. The thing is, most of them aren't, because the listings I see that list the S4 as an option are almost all the shorter cables, which are about 113 inches long if they list the length at all. The S4 takes a cable that's about 146 inches long, big difference. And basically, if the ad doesn't say this cable is for the S4 4-seat long wheelbase version, don't buy it because it will not fit. So let's go ahead and lay this one out, make sure it's 146 inches long, and I'll show you what that looks like up against the vehicle here. All right, the cable's a little twisted up, as you can see, but you can see it's longer than the vehicle, or at least as long as the vehicle. That's your baseline. I imagine that probably applies to the 2-seat, the 4-seat version. But if your cable's not that long and you have a 4-seater, go get a new cable. All right, let's get this one put in. Okay, I'm going to start out by putting the top end in through the same slot it came out of. Just a few inches toward the driver's side of the other shift cable coming down. So now we got that in there, let's get it hooked up inside the dash. Okay, my first stinky wrinkle is that this, the hole that this thing feeds through is too small to feed the bellows through, so you have to take it off, and there is no way to do so without losing the little nose on the bellows that normally rides kind of tight around this cable. Not going to be the end of the world, but basically what that means is I have to feed this through and then slide the bellows back over the cable and somehow get this through. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Okay, and now once that's done, I should be able to clip in the cable. It's just a little ratcheting style mechanism, so just push the tabs into the hole, it'll click in, and then we can put this little S hook into the hole the old one came out of. And there's some tension there, so all right, so there we go. We've now got it back to kind of where it was. It's likely to leak a little bit more than the original one did, which is a shame because this isn't quite as tight. If I get real ambitious, I may put a piece of tape or a little dab of something sealant there. But at any rate, we've got it connected up here. That's important because now we're going to be pulling on the cable, putting it in the rest of the way, and we don't want it to pull it back too far and change the alignment up here. So we're anchored here, so let's get on with the rest of it. Okay, and basically what we want to do at the bottom end here is to put it down through the same area. Just get it down in there so you can reach it from underneath and go underneath to take it further. Okay, the trick is to move it just to the outside of all the other cables heading back and to get the nose just inside there. That's pretty much all you're going to be able to do, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but the adjuster is pushed up. This is right by the driver's footwell, and now we're going to go underneath further and get access to that from underneath the easy way. All right, now basically here's the hook. I don't know if you can even see that. The hook is actually, I got it sticking through. If not, it's not a big deal. You'll get there. The next trick is get a pry bar of some sort and put it in far enough to get on top of the channel that's in there and pull the floorboard up just a little bit. Okay, once you do that, the whole thing just feeds through, and just go ahead and pull it down. You might have to get up and straighten out your cable up top, but once you get it through, now we can start working it back. I'm going to, and I can see from here that it did take up all the slack up on top. I'm just going to run this back through here, and now I'm going to go through the next stage as well, over the next cross member. I know you can't see all of that yet, but I'll get us there. So I'm going to run this back over both of those cross members and pull it through. And now let's move on back a little bit. Okay, I'm right back by the passenger's footwell here, and there's a little niche here that's you can actually run the cable out through here. And the reason I'm doing it on this side, I could run it on the other side and just zip tie it, but this basically keeps it further away from the drive shaft. This drive shaft runs from the engine up to the front. This is really the only thing that's likely to damage this cable. And so by keeping it on the driver's side of this solid channel here, there's no way that's going to be a problem. So now, next trick is I'm going to get it over down this section here the same way. I'm going to use a pry bar. I'm going to slide it through here and out the back the same way I did up front. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show you that with my camera angle here, but I'll do my best. Okay, similarly, going to feed through this last section by prying the floor pan up just a little bit, and you may need to go up top and pull the cable out of the way a little bit to get it all the way in there. I'm just going to feed it up. Okay, I got it through there. As expected, it took the wrong path, but that's easy enough to fix. Again, you just want to follow the path of the old cable, which is under here. Let's see, and there is a little feed through under this. Okay, I just released this. I just squeezed the tabs with a pair of needle nose pliers and drop this down just to see how this stupid little mechanism works. It's just a clamp. I'm going to pry it apart with a screwdriver. I believe that's how it comes apart. But even so, probably the easier thing would be just throw a zip tie around the new cable and the two old cables right about here, and you'd be good. You don't have to go further than that. But just for the sake of you folks watching this, I want to tell you how to actually release this clamp, and I'm going to do that with two hands, and I'll let you know what I find out. In a word, this little part here pries up, which releases it from this other side. I'm sorry for the angles here, folks. It's kind of cramped. It pops open. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and clamp in my new cable, and then close this thing. I'm not going to bother taking the old cable out. Like I said, I'm just going to leave it hanging in the vehicle. Now I just run the rest of the cable back along the same path as the old cables. I'll deal with getting it touched up. Got the clamp around the three cables. Do not include this fourth cable that heads up to this this adjuster that lives on top of where the strain relief clips into. But now once I do that, I'm just going to reach around, find the hole. Okay, just a matter of lining it up and pushing up very hard with both hands. But the peg now comes back through under this bellows and it's hooked in. Strain relief's all good. So let's head to the back. Now honestly, I think a lot of people would probably take the bed off. It's only 2 bolts. And it's not that big a deal to get it off. But it's really going to be easier, I think, all in all, to just go and get a wrench and install the cable without going to all that nonsense. Okay, I've got my 12mm wrench. All I have to do is loosen the old one a little bit and pull the old cable out. And I'm going to, don't know exactly where this one's going to be set, so I'm just going to lay it in here. I'm going to go ahead and connect the cable. And I'm going to lay this in. Here's the thing. Now we got to make sure that we get pretty close to having the right cable tension on. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and shift the shifter to pull on the good cable, the old cable, all the way. Okay, so basically that will ensure that this cable is in tension, or at least tight, taking the slack out of it, so that we will know to do the same with this one. If I just install it like it is and snug it down, if this cable is loose at the other end because one of the cables was broken, it's all going to be wrong. So again, I'm going to go up front and I'm going to shift to pull that shifter into position so that it's further toward the camera. There it is. Okay, that happens to be the low position. Okay, so at that point, what I want to do is just adjust this so that it's good and snug, not much more than that. And tighten it down. Okay, now that we've got full motion on our shifting mechanism here and everything lines up, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down this lock nut, good and snug. And if necessary, might need another one here. This is the 13mm, by the way. It doesn't have to be Gorilla tight. Like I said, the old cable is just going to float around loose back here. I'm going to stick it kind of behind this bulkhead here just to keep it out of the way. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So, all right, we are ready to fire it up and make sure it's 100%. Okay, let's go to reverse. Oh, there's reverse. Let's go to high. Oh, there's high. Let's go to low. I suppose that's low. So, all right, we are good to go. We are fixed. Okay, I've set the emergency brake fully on, and I'm going to shift through the gears with the engine running just so it doesn't get really sticky, which it will do sometimes if it's parked and the engine and transmission aren't moving. So everything looks good. Both cables are moving fully. I noticed that this one is actually, the top one is just barely, it's bottoming out this end against the cable, and it's doing the same in the back. So that tells me that the cable is maybe just a little on the short side, but it works. I'm happy. It's a good fix. And for those of you who just can't sleep until you find out, yes, I did reinstall the cup holder, the trunk, the fuse box, and the little strain relief around the cables down there to keep them out of harm's way and from touching the steering shaft. So there you go, folks. Now we're ready to go four-wheeling.